What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team, stand up! It may be May, but June is on the way. We got AM Hoops, Victor Wembanyama's new growth spurt. I ain't gonna lie, if this video isn't clickbait and Wemby actually got a growth spurt, we are witnessing, I already said it, but it's 100% confirmed. We are witnessing the second generation of Wilt Chamberlain, and I'm here for it. Bro, Wemby possibly reaching 8-foot status, the first NBA player to be 8 foot in the league. I'm here for it, man. MVP coming from Wemby next year. One in the chat, yes or two, no.
1,000 times before getting drafted, because it was crazy to see someone that tall move and play basketball like that. And when he got in the league, it was crazy to see him make freaks like Anthony Davis or Rudy Gobert look small. So people started asking, how tall is he really? Well, we got the official answer when he measured in at 7 foot 3.5 inches without shoes before the NBA draft. Case closed, like 7 foot 4 in shoes. Ooh. But since then, people have noticed something weird. The Spurs listed him at 7'4" as a rookie, but then they downgraded him to 7'3" before his second season.
That's weird.
Did he shrink? No, the exact opposite. Photos came out of him standing next to guys with confirmed height like Zach Edey, and Wemby is clearly taller.
Facts.
So did Wemby actually grow and the Spurs are trying to hide that? Why? And what does that mean for his NBA career?
But I just got the numbers for MyFitFoods, and you guys are loving it. That makes me really happy because I am loving it too. There are some with promo and awesome promo code AMHoops30 for 30% off.
Well, Wemby was drafted at 19 years old, and growth charts show that most males stop growing after age 18, but in rare cases, some may continue to grow into their early 20s.
That's a fact, because it happened to me. After my senior year in high school, I was about 6'1.5", and how I remember it is because gym was my favorite class, you know what I'm saying, in school. Always got an A, at worst a B+ in gym. But we did like the yearly gym physicals and stuff that we do in the year. They just measure your weight and height, just light stuff or whatever. I was 6'1.5". By the time my senior year was done and then went over to the next year, I grew to 6'2", and then the next year after that, I officially grew to 6'3.5", bro. I feel like some males, if they have rare growth spurts to still be going through puberty, it really doesn't end up until I feel like 21-ish. So, hey, man.
When
Wemby about to be 8 foot soon.
Wemby for the first time, he saw the rookie do insane things like a block on one end and handle like a guard. But he said he plays the right way. I've never seen anything like him, but he is not 7'3". He is way taller. And whoever said he's 7'3", that's a lie.
Wait, Kumpo said this?
Really? So according to Giannis, Wemby already grew from before the draft to the middle of his rookie season, but apparently it hasn't stopped yet. There are several recent photos that all point to another growth spurt. And with these photos, we can determine how tall he might actually be right now. So photo number 1 is from early March, the Spurs official team picture. That's Wemby in the back, and a Spurs blog called Pounding the Rock did the math here. It's a little complicated, but stay with me. So Charles Bassey is 6'10" and clearly goes up to Wemby's mouth. Well, a human head is conservatively 1/8 the height of a person's body. So on a 7'4",
Yo, bro, and Moose was giving some scientific breakdowns, bro. I didn't even know that. 1/8 of the body.
That would be 11 inches. But the mouth is a quarter of the way up the head. So that leaves 8 1/4 inches on top of Charles Bassey. Wemby is 7 foot 6 1/4 inches. But hey, that photo was like far away. We had to do some math. Let's keep it simple. Every Spurs
Wemby's 7'6", and then his wingspan definitely makes him over 8 foot.
Of the year posed for this picture in late April. Tim Duncan is
he makes David Robinson look motherfucking like 6'5". Robinson's 6'11". Same with Tim, he's like 6'10".
At 6'11", David Robinson is 7'1", and Wemby is a lot taller than
Castle. You know, he's like 6'1", 6'2".
Everyone. But how much taller? Well, Robinson is older, right? Like maybe he shrunk an inch or two, fine. But if we go to the mouth height again, that still puts Wemby at 7'6", closer to 7'7", which is crazy, but the latest photo is staggering. This is Wemby standing next to French prospect Maxime Reynaud in mid-May. Maxime is listed at 7¼ inches at the combine, so according to proportions, the top of the nose is the middle of the head, which means Wemby is about 5½ inches taller, making him 7 foot 7 inches tall.
What?
If you run that photo through a simulator, it also happens to say 7'7". So dude grew about 3+ inches since getting drafted. Goodness.
Woo-wee! The first, is that the tallest NBA player of all time? Right? Or somebody else? Let me look that up. Tallest NBA player ever. Manute Bol, which is Bobo Dad, 7'7". He's tied with Manute Bol. And here's my take too. When he brought up an interesting subject, why you think that San Antonio is like hiding his height. I think they're doing that because, am I tripping for thinking that I feel like if you're extremely tall in the NBA, like certain teams and just like the owners in the league don't want to give you like the biggest contract because they think you could be injury prone, or it doesn't really matter. I don't know. I just thought that would be a conspiracy.
But who cares? So he's taller. What's the big deal? I mean, why are the Spurs trying to hide this? Well, in NBA history, there have been just 7 players who were 7'3" or taller to have notable careers. Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Kristaps Porzingis, and Arvydas Sabonis.
Check DM. Hold on. From Castle? I'll check right now. Hold on. Can somebody pin what did he say something in the chat? I missed. Hey, Steph, Castle following the boy, man. I didn't even know. Shout out to Castle. He had to hit him with that follow back. What do you say, any DMs? Hell yeah, let's do that shit. Castle want the 1s and 2K. Let's make it happen. Literally like 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I bet. I just DM'd him. What's his gamer tag?
Ralph Sampson, Rick Smits, Mark Eaton at 7'4", and 7'6", Yao Ming. And of those 7, 5 of them either missed an entire year with injury or had to retire.
That's what I was saying, man. That like taller players,
because their body broke down. In fact,
bro, I was so hurt with Yao Ming, bro. Yao Ming's so talented.
Every player in history over 7'1" had a career plagued with injuries.
Bro, I remember this.
Wemby has already ended both seasons early, even though one was a blood clot. So the Spurs know, if we all found out about another growth spurt to around 7'6", 7'7", the entire NBA media would have a giant freak out.
Yep.
It would be wall-to-wall coverage on the day of that growth spurt announcement about Wemby's career being threatened. And every time there's a small little tweak.
Bro, your boy Darius has IQ, bro. I'm trying to tell you, that's going to affect his contract in the future. So if the Spurs ever decide, hey, we want to trade Wemby or whatever, that's going to affect his stock and everything, man.
Media would immediately go to career ending. So they don't want all that stuff in his head like for the rest of his career. And obviously they're trying to protect him, listing him at like 7'3". 7'3" is a joke. But the Spurs also believe those concerns. They secretly worry that Wemby's career might be a lot shorter than most. And how do we know that?
Don't say that.
Because Shams just reported something very strange about San Antonio.
They also have a ton of assets. They have tradable contracts. They have the number 2 pick. They have the number 14 pick in this year's draft. They have all their picks. Whether there's a player like a...
Fuck? Is that my alarm? Fuck. Rare ass smoke alarm, bro. Yeah, I changed the battery.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think Kevin Durant's another guy that the Spurs, there was mutual interest in at the deadline. I think they're...
I'm trying to hear which one it is. Because I might be able to reach it, but if it's like a cross, I ain't motherfucking the Hulk or some shit with the damn 90-inch vert. Hold on. Is it this one? Literally 10 seconds, y'all, bro. I hate the sound of smoke alarm, bro. Five seconds, trying to find which one it is. Hurry up and ring. Hurry up. Now you want to be... Damn, Mr. One on top of the damn shit. Hell nah, I can't reach over there, bro. I ain't gonna lie, y'all gonna have to tune out that smoke alarm. It won't happen next stream. Rare one. That one I ain't replaced in like 3 years, so it was on his last legs.
They're going to be looking very actively to see.
Unless I use a broom. Nah, I can't even get it to replace.
Is there
I was gonna use a broom.
wing player we can bring in that could take us over the top?
Wow. So forget just Giannis. They might get Kevin Durant, 37.
Look at Hallie's dog. Bro. Why? Why you want to decide to make noise now, bro? You wasn't doing that all day. Damn.
Year old Kevin Durant, why would they trade real assets when Wemby is just 21 years old? Because they are afraid
Appreciate
of his
y'all saying it straight.
body. They know that Wemby's timeline might be super short,
ASAP.
so they want to get a championship in while they can. This ain't like a Tim Duncan where they had a 19-year runway to win multiple titles. The Spurs know it might be a lot shorter than that. Plus, with the new CBA, it makes sense to load up on expensive vets now while Wemby is still on his rookie contract. But is this report even real? I mean, how do we know the Spurs are even thinking on that short little timeline? Because they already confirmed it by trading for De'Aaron
If
Fox.
I wasn't streaming, I'd be able to tune it out. That's easy as hell. I just hate like having my like background audio and stuff.
Instead of trying to build
Like
slowly
OCD
through the
with that
draft like
stuff.
the OKC Thunder, they started spending their draft assets to accelerate Wemby's timeline by surrounding him with win-now vets. But what would it actually take to get KD? Well, first of all, his natural position is small forward, which is an area of need for the Spurs. Last year, he scored 27 points per game on 53% from the field and 1.2 blocks. That is better than every Spurs player who played 55 plus games last season. But if the Suns want to demand that number 2 pick, it's not going to happen. The Spurs never overpay for players, so I think a 3-team deal might make it work. What about the Spurs get KD, the Suns get Nick Claxton, Keldon Johnson, the number 14 pick, and another one of those picks from the Hawks?
Man, hell nah, bro. KD to the Spurs, bro. Hell nah.
Let's get Devin Vassell and a 2029 first from the Spurs.
They going for this trade?
So the Suns here would get a young big and Clax to pair with Devin Booker and the number 14 pick in this year's draft, which is a valuable cheap contract. The Nets do this because they get a shooter Vassell, who is a valuable piece in their new offense, plus a first-round pick. But obviously, the Spurs would prefer Giannis, who is 7 years younger than KD and still playing at an MVP level. Dude got third in MVP this year. Yes, Giannis doesn't shoot, but Wemby took a huge leap there last year. Either way, it's pretty obvious. The Spurs feel pressure because of Wemby's new growth spurt. And it's still amazing to see a guy his size play like he does, but the taller Wemby gets, the more you have to worry about his long-term future in the NBA. But
facts.
apparently another generational prospect's right around the corner. Cooper Flagg is about to get drafted number 1. All the reports say the Mavericks will not trade the pick. They're going with Cooper. But then we get another report, and it's just like the Mavs, isn't it? They might actually try a plan with Cooper that could completely ruin his career before it even starts.
Damn. All right, shout out to Pro AM Hoops, man. Y'all in the chat, y'all in the YouTube comments, man. You think Wemby actually having a growth spurt will affect his career, or it's gonna make it even better?